They called him a ghost of war. A warrior who would not bend, even as his world crumbled. This is the story of a man who led his people into one last desperate stand for a home already taken. Long before maps carved up rivers and plains with foreign names, the Sauk people thrived along the waters of the Mississippi and Rock rivers. They were river people, fishermen, hunters, and farmers of corn and squash. To them, the land was not property. It was memory, spirit, blood. Each tree and bend in the river whispered stories passed down for generations. They believed in balance, in the sacred rhythm of life, and in protecting the land the Creator had given them. Among them rose a warrior, Marke Taimishikiakiak. The world would come to know him as Black Hawk. The Sauk did not build empires or towering cities. Their greatness lived in the soul of their people, in their loyalty, their silence before storms, and in how they walked softly on the earth, but fought like thunder when threatened. Sauk warriors painted their faces with red and black before battle, colors of blood and defiance. They danced beneath the stars, sang to the spirits of their ancestors, and stood as one tribe against many storms. Black Hawk was not a chief by title, but he was a leader by heart. A man of visions, of fire, a voice of the old ways in a world that no longer listened. Then came the treaties, the lies scribbled in English ink. In 1804, while Black Hawk was away hunting, a small group of Sauk leaders, pressured, misled, and confused, signed away their ancestral lands in Illinois. The U.S. government claimed it was legal. The Sauk called it theft. Black Hawk called it betrayal. For years afterward, the Sauk still returned to their beloved village of Saukenuk, their birthplace, their sacred heart. Until one spring, they came back and found it gone. Burned. Settled by strangers. Their graves plowed under. Their fields now foreign soil. They were told, go west, cross the Mississippi, never return. But Black Hawk remembered the old songs. The old promises. He did not forget. In 1832, at 65 years old, when most men sought rest, Black Hawk took up his war club. He led 1,200 people, most of them women, children, and elders, back across the Mississippi into Illinois. They weren't invaders. They were going home. But the United States called it an invasion. They sent militias, soldiers, and cannons. What followed was not a war of empires, but a war of desperation. The Black Hawk War. The Sauk were outnumbered, outgunned, but not outwitted. They knew the rivers, the forests, the silence between shots. They moved like shadows. Struck like lightning. At the Battle of Stillman's Run, the Sauk humiliated a larger American force, killing 12 and scattering hundreds. Fear spread like wildfire across the frontier. But Black Hawk did not rejoice. He did not want war. He only wanted what was already theirs. But the noose tightened. More militias poured in. The U.S. Army hunted the Sauk like prey. There was no mercy. No treaties. Only pursuit. Black Hawk's people fled north, then west, starving, dying, praying for refuge. He tried to surrender multiple times. No one listened. Then came the Bad Axe River. The final stand. In August of 1832, U.S. troops trapped what remained of Black Hawk's band near the Mississippi. Men, women, and children tried to swim across the river to escape. Soldiers opened fire. They did not stop. Hundreds were cut down. Bodies floated in the current. Some were bayoneted where they hid. It was not a battle. It was a massacre. Black Hawk escaped, for a time. But he was captured weeks later. Paraded across the East like a trophy of conquest. They wanted to show America it's savage. But when they looked into his eyes, they saw something ancient. Something unbroken. Black Hawk died in 1838. Buried far from his homeland. His remains were stolen. Displayed in a museum. Then lost in a fire. Today, highways bear his name. So do sports teams, towns, and counties. But how many remember the man? How many remember what he fought for? He once said, "It has always been our custom to never abandon our village. We were forced to leave it. Our people were starving. They had no homes, no food, no hope." He did not fight for conquest. He fought for memory. For his ancestors. For the graves buried beneath the cornfields. His war lasted only a few months. But its echoes have lasted centuries. Every time a river flows through Illinois, every time a child plays in a field that was once Sauk land, Black Hawk's spirit walks there. Not as a ghost of defeat, but as a whisper of resistance. A name the wind still carries. And when you next hear his name, ask yourself, was he the savage? Or was he the last man standing in a world gone blind? He crossed the river, not to make war, but to come home. But the world had already forgotten what home meant. Black Hawk's last stand wasn't for land. It was for dignity. And for that, he will never be forgotten.